Hello, heartbeats. Give me just 1 second here. This is, as usual these days, an unexpected live. I haven't been scheduling much because life is not making it easy to follow through when I schedule. So, let me just make sure that I am live very quickly. So that there will be a replay for anyone who is wanting to see it. Okay, I see myself, so that's good. Hopefully my sound is good, everything is okay today. I'm not going to focus too much on comments, just want to share and get my notes up here. So if you see me reading, yes, it is because I'm reading, because I want to make sure that I don't miss anything today. Okay, so first off, for anyone who doesn't know me yet, I am Brianna Hozak, aka Coach Bree. My shamanic name is Light Beyond the Meadow, and I am an advanced level certified shamanic practitioner, as well as an online coach. This is my group where you are right now. And today I just want to talk quickly about several things. So first of all, what is the wild feminine? And that's going to be sort of the main focus. But there is so much talk online about the divine feminine right now, at least in the circles I travel. So there are a lot of words being thrown around. And I thought that I would shed some light on what these mean and what I mean when I say wild feminine, as well as officially announcing my Wild Feminine Leaders Inner Circle. But I'll talk about that a little bit more later. So if you are in the spiritual online communities at all, you've probably heard the term light worker, meaning someone who works for the light or for the good side, or to enlighten the collective, as in raise the collective consciousness. I personally believe that the term light worker is not ideal because it promotes the idea that shadow and dark are bad, which is simply not true. They are misunderstood. So very often they're used out of context, and unfortunately this has caused pervasive resistance to things like shadow work, and so on in like shadow work, which is actually another term for healing, right? So it's not a bad thing. It also brings up resistance to the word dark itself. And we see this all the way from childhood, being afraid of the dark and so on, to religion, right? Being taught that evil lives in or is embodied by darkness, and on we go. This is why I created the usage of the term heartbeat to describe a person instead of light worker. We get to be light and dark and create ripples, make massive impact in the world, all through love, right? All through the effects of caring in the world. So what I want to shed some awareness on today is that this construct of light versus dark was actually created by men. And no, I'm not man bashing, for anyone concerned. These were specific men, who were determined to undermine the feminine, right? And women in general. And in astrology, in tarot, and many other methodologies, the sun is representative of the masculine or male counterparts, and the moon is representative of the feminine or the female. So this is like baseline knowledge, right? In learning to return to nature and what is natural in the world, especially for women. In nature, darkness is an absolute necessity, right? Without it, plants would burn, dry up, and die. Without it, plants can't go through their natural cycles. to die and be reborn in the spring. Death itself is implied to be a bad thing, and yet without it, our planet would have died a long time ago, right? It would be overburdened by all of the life forms that never left or never were returned to the earth to supply the next cycle, in other words. So when you tune back into nature, you realize how important night and winter and even death are, and really all aspects, right, of the cycles in our lives are really so important. So darkness in and of itself is actually healing. We heal when we sleep, and we sleep in the dark hours of our days, right? We are physically designed to sleep when it's dark. And shadows are some of our most glorious aspects that we were afraid of, or that we misunderstood and then buried because we were afraid we wouldn't be accepted by the world around us, by our parents, by church leaders, whoever it was, that we wouldn't be accepted for what was real about us. And in the wild, the jungle sleeps at night, right? That is when we're meant to be resting and healing. So there are other terms also that I want to talk about, like the toxic or disempowered feminine. And we hear more about toxic masculine than we do about toxic feminine, but they both exist. Toxic feminine, for example, is when women are being judgmental of other women, dismissing them or making them feel smaller to make themselves feel more important. And it works in tandem very well with toxic masculinity. It's restrictive. It doesn't allow any divergence from the classic or like sexist feminine stereotypes. Empowered femininity, on the other hand, is allowing and accepting. It's community and collaboration over competition. It's women helping women and lifting one another up. And it's honest, right? It's nurturing, it's self-aware, and it's unlimited. So then there are some people who talk about the dark feminine and light feminine, by contrast, right? And they talk about them as if they're distinct, like separate types of women or types of femininity. And I can no longer subscribe to this separation. Okay, so we all have some of both within us, and neither one is more important than the other. Yin and yang, the symbol, like the black and white, right? Light and dark, all are needed for balance and for harmony in the world. So I really do believe that unity will not come in the world until all are accepted. So people of all colors, all abilities, all backgrounds, right, are accepted as equal. And when we accept that butterflies and sunshine and rainbows and flowers and makeup and pink are feminine, and so are black and thorns and tears and dirt and blood. Who better to understand and accept blood than women who have a hormone cycle, right? Who bleed every month without being wounded. And when the feminine flow includes receptivity as well as fierceness, ease as well as energy, bubbly as well as moody, and everything is all accepted and okay, that is when we begin to rediscover our roots, our truth, and our fullest embodiment of ourselves as exactly who we're meant to be. The divine feminine embodies both light and dark. The sacred feminine is the natural feminine, the holy, balanced, and embodied feminine. And by holy, I don't mean H-O-L-Y, I mean W-H-O-L-L-Y. We are entirely balanced and embodied. And some of you may have heard of the wild feminine. This is not something that I created, or the wild woman archetype, or of like hashtag rewilding, right? Or even just my rewilding ripple, hashtag rewilding ripple that I created last year, outlining the ripple effects of rewilding, the ripple that being in nature creates in our lives. So the wild feminine is the natural feminine, the feminine in nature without the societal constructs, without the patriarchal bullshit or the stereotypes encroaching on her truth. Okay. And there is, of course, the aspect of men and women all having some feminine and all having some masculine aspects. But as this group is one for women, I'm focusing on women only at this time. So the wild feminine is not necessarily feral or vicious or predatory or violent like you might think when you associate the word wild that we've come to know societally, right? Although she could be when necessary, right? For example, to protect herself or to protect her young or to feed herself or her family. The wild feminine can still adorn herself and try to look pretty. But pretty to her is going to be unique, right? It's not something you're going to see on an ad or in a magazine, or not necessarily anyways. It can be. But what it is truly is something that calls to her soul and makes her feel glorious. The wild feminine knows herself, right? Inside and out. She owns all parts of herself. The huntress, the nurturer, the freedom seeker, the adventurer, the mystical, the powerful, and the plentiful aspects of herself. And it includes the emotions and the cravings and the discomforts and the rough edges as well. She owns her sexuality, her magnetism, her persuasive and distraction-inducing seductiveness, right? That is natural. She's not afraid of any part of herself because she is natural, and she knows she's natural, and she knows that in nature there is no judgment of her naturalness. So when you return to your wild feminine self, you come to accept yourself fully. You learn to embrace what others fear, to embody what others hide, and to do it without shame. And that's key, right? So for most of us, if not all of us, the journey back to our wild feminine selves is really long. There's much healing to be done, much trauma to the collective psyche, and a lot of fear of being outcast, right? And that's natural because for human beings, to be outcast means to die, in nature. So now, why the hell is Coach Bree talking about the wild feminine, right? And is it because I like to show up in my Viking power paint on live video? No. I do that because to me, it's pretty. To me, it's an outward expression of how I feel on the inside. For me, it brings me closer to that feeling of wild embodiment. And yeah, so no, I'm talking about the wild feminine because I believe, as I always have, that women can have massive impact in the world. That without women becoming empowered, more and like having more women in leadership roles around the world, more women being brave and free, without all of that, we will never change what needs to change before our society collapses. I truly believe that. And some people might think that women going wild is society collapsing. No, I believe no. I know that women who have reintegrated with their higher wild feminine versions of themselves are the most powerful, impactful, inspiring beings imaginable. And I want to create a movement of wild feminine embodied leaders who are making brave, bold strides towards the needed changes globally. And most of these women already have their passions and their big dreams and their purposes they believe they were put here for, right? The niched changes sort of that they want to make in the world. And they're trying to build this world from the ground up, and it's not easy. And the problem here is that most of us wild feminine leaders, or who are more likely to become wild feminine leaders have been missing the piece that it's not a solo job. We're not meant to do it alone. We're meant to do it in tandem with other women. So women creating businesses that create change, women supporting each other's businesses intentionally, women inspiring other women to find their unique paths and purposes, women helping to heal other women, women who are willing to face vilification by toxic feminine and toxic masculine entities who cross their path. And by entities, I don't mean like some sort of spiritual woo entity. I mean just any being who is in their toxic masculine or toxic feminine. Women who are willing to do the hard work, right? To heal, to learn, to grow, and to integrate so that they can lead the way for other women and men and children to shift the collective unconscious, to blaze the trails that other people will follow. So these women are visionary, strong, empowered women who are ready to reconnect with nature because they know it's the only way to move the human race into the next age, the next era, and that without it, we all die. Okay? Sound extreme? It is. I am. I'm done softening my message. It's time for change. And I'm stepping forward to lead that change because I am meant to. I will never be done my own healing and growth journey. And I've accepted that. But I am farther along it than many because I move fast, right? And I move with great power. I move with a lot of power because I was gifted or tasked, or however you want to think of it, with leading massive change. That is what I'm here for. So all of that has brought me to where I am today, leading a movement of women who are ready to rewild, to return to nature in energetic alignment and healing, to return to their wild roots and who they truly are. Okay, and no, you don't have to give up running water, flushing toilets, or indoor heating or air conditioning to go live among the trees, right? Although kudos if you want to. And no, you don't have to put on power paint like I do. No, you don't have to change anything that you don't want to change. The whole point is, the beauty of the wild feminine is that you get to be who you truly are. This is who I truly am. Okay, this is not who you would necessarily become. But now I am so super excited to share about my wild feminine leaders inner circle. This is a rewilding mastermind where you radically authenticate yourself with my guidance and with a circle of wild sisters around you doing the same thing. This is where you get to up-level your business with your embodied, higher, divine, sacred, and wild feminine self, where you get to be unafraid and unapologetic and discover your wild feminine aesthetic that will take you from struggling and forcing and burning out in your business to serve up the dish that you created and designed for your clients because you thought it was what was best or because you thought it was what they wanted. It will take you from that into leading and magnetizing and easily embodying what your clients are looking for. This inner circle will help you to paint your business and your brand and yourself with your wildest, most authentic self to truly accentuate that piece that's been missing, right? Your unique edge isn't just some quirky, standout piece of information or an attitude that you put on each day or a catchphrase. Your unique edge is the undercurrent of your wildish feminine self, the color and the makeup, and not like face makeup, but the way that you are made at the deepest part of your so far undiscovered soul. One that no one else can teach you because no one else is you. And the inner circle will take you on a journey of self-discovery to uncover the hidden aspects of yourself, to meet with your highest wild self and get to know her, come to love her and integrate with her so that you can show up in this powerful way to create the change and really create it, right? For good in the world. So if this sounds like exactly what you've been waiting for, even if you didn't realize it, that is your soul calling out to be seen, fully seen, without shame, without guilt, without fear. And if that's you, DM me the word wild so that I can prioritize your message and see if you'd be a good fit, okay, for the Wild Feminine Leaders Inner Circle. My DMs are open for questions, and I do not do pressurized sales. And for the women who know already that this is for them and are ready to jump in and do the work, the Inner Circle is at early bird pricing for just a few more days, okay? This is not going to last. Just while I've had other things going on, I've left it at this price. It is going up very, very soon. And whether this Inner Circle is for you or not, go and be as wild as you can be today. Okay? Be as natural as you can be. This is the path to success. Get to know yourself deeply, okay? And accept every part of you that you can find, that you're able to dig up. Do the work, do the healing, do the searching, and know that no matter where you're at on this path to wild feminine success, I love you deeply with my whole heartbeat. And I will talk to you all very soon.